All right, mic check, mic check.
Sound good.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Good stuff. And
You're good.
all right, guys. Good evening, and welcome to Debate the News on this Saturday, the 11th of is this 11th of the 12th? The 12th of April 2025, guys. Last night, we spoke about the Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony incident that took place down in Frisco, Texas. And so that conversation garnered a lot of attention. So what we decided to do today was come back at it and just have that discussion. So guys, it's a very interesting discussion. So I want to what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and let's get this thing started. I want to see what you guys think about it. Very interesting because we had two episodes and one episode and two bonus episodes out of that last night. So we're going to see what we can do tonight because it seems like everybody still want to speak about it. It's a Saturday night, so why not? So do me a favor, folks. Let everyone know that we are in here. I want you guys to share the room. Let everyone know that we're live and debate the news. Guys, download the Chatter Social app if you're listening to us at home. And come join us. We do these rooms nightly, every night, guys. Every night, nightly. The Chatter Social app can be downloaded from either the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. If you're in the room, up top, we have the links, folks. Do me a favor. Download the podcast and turn on automatic downloads. Also, guys, follow the podcast. This is going to be a very, very exciting room. So with that being said, folks, I'm looking forward to this. Let's get ready to debate the news. All right, folks. Good evening and welcome to Debate the News tonight. We got a real difficult one, and it's so difficult that I actually haven't landed on an issue here. And so I decided to forego our normal Debate the News format, and I decided to have the discussion, guys. And I'm going to tell you why I decided to have this discussion again tonight. Guys, Debate the News, we have a very unique community. And by that, I mean we have people from all over the world, okay, that joins us here live. And not only that, it's a very diverse. It's like socially diverse, economically diverse, racially diverse, religiously diverse, gender diverse. So we run the gamut. So we're able to have discussions here that would I joke with everyone here and say the discussions that we have here are the discussions that will get you fired. If you had them at work, or you can't have them at church. But we're able to come here. Believe it or not, we've been having these discussions for years, and we've just really decided to push it out to you guys, to the public, and share these discussions with you guys. So that's what we're doing tonight, and we're taking on the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf. Now, I believe on April 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, there was a track meet in which Austin Metcalf was fatally stabbed by Carmelo Anthony. Now, one of the things I'm going to bring up first and foremost, because it's going to be a huge part of the discussion tonight, because, hey, it always is, it's race. Carmelo Anthony was a black student, and Austin Metcalf was a white student. Now, Austin Metcalf had a 4.0 GPA, and he was MVP of the football team. And the gentleman, Carmelo Anthony, had a 3.7, which is brilliant as well. GPA as well. So we're not talking about troubled kids in a traditional sense. Both of them had both parents involved in their family and their lives, and so he was living with his father, and so it is Carmelo and Austin. But just real quick, I'm not going to give you much details. Um, Carmelo Anthony went into the tent, went under the tent, the canopy of Austin's Metcalf track team, where he was asked to leave by Austin, and Carmelo refused. It was raining out, allegedly raining, and so that's when Austin, approached him, and Carmelo said, "Touch me." And you'll see what happened, something to that effect. Guys, I'm paraphrasing. All right. And that's when he was pushed by Austin, you know, when Carmelo said that. Carmelo then said, "Hey, punch me and see what happens." At that time, he reached in his bag, pulled out a knife, and he stabbed Austin in the chest. Austin subsequently succumbed to his wound. He died in his twin brother's arms. And so the police came, and when the police came, they arrested Austin. Excuse me, Carmelo. And at the time, Carmelo allegedly said to the police, when the police said, "We have the alleged suspect," he goes, "I'm not alleged. I did it." So, guys, I'm giving you the barest details, but I wanted to set this up because I'm going to be a participant just as everyone else is. I'm not going to really lead this debate, the news, like I normally do. I'm probably going to jump in when it's appropriate to jump in, but I'm going to turn the reins over to Divine, school teacher out of New York City. He's here. We have Positive out of Washington, D.C. We have Sir Jude. We have Vashon here as well. Cindy is obviously going to step in and speak to it. Anyone else is going to be jumping in on this right here? Any one of the other co-hosts that any one of you guys? I just want to make sure that the audience knows the God is out of New York. He's up in Connecticut now. The God IB. And who's that? That's Jaham. Okay, Jaham is out of Florida. Yeah, out of Florida and out of Boston and out of everywhere else. I don't know where the hell he's at. So guys, so with that being said, 2B, are you there too? All right, 2B from the Debate the News Local, which is a podcast that covers the local news. He's here. I don't know how long he's going to be here because his wife normally doesn't let him be on this late. So, so we're taking. Yeah. So there you go, guys. So I'm going to turn this thing over because I have some strong feelings, about this, but I've been holding back because, I don't want to be called a coon. I don't want to be called anything else. I just have some very strong feelings on this. I think right is right and wrong is wrong, and I do think people need to be able to protect themselves. That's just the way I feel. However, I just don't like how this played out, and it doesn't look good for Carmelo, in my opinion. But I've been reserving my opinion, how I truly feel about this case, and hopefully by the end of the night, I will be able to voice it and speak it, how I truly feel about this case, because I don't know how I truly feel about this case, because this case is one of those cases, believe it or not, that has me perplexed. And last night someone revoked my black card because I didn't feel the anger that they felt about what's happening to Carmelo. Because once again, I'm just letting justice play out, and I want to get more details. So with that being said, I'm going to hand this over to Divine. Hopefully he's not going to be too angry. Guys, I'll say this to you. Debate the News, everyone has a voice. So if you want, I don't care who you are and what you have to say, feel comfortable. Even if it doesn't agree with the sentiment at the room at that moment, that's me especially want you to speak up. That's what I especially want you to speak up, because we don't want an echo chamber. We want people to feel comfortable And it's we all can grow. I mean, I don't know if we all going to learn anything, but we all can grow from this interaction. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Divine Davies. Divine, how you doing? Hey, hey, before you go, before you get started, we got chat Christy, Christy Chatham here, and she's gonna be help leading the charge. She did a hell of a job last night, so I gotta give a special shout out to her because she has a lot of information. So she's gonna be sharing that as well. So if you guys on the podcast aren't familiar with Chatham, she's gonna be here as well. So Divine, I'm gonna hand that over to you. My apologies, that's my last interruption. Thank you.
Let's cool off for a second. Take 5 seconds. Think first. So, Metcalf's crew should have hovered around him. Hey man, it's not that serious. We'll talk to him. It shouldn't have never gotten to that point where they were that close to each other where he was able to pull out a knife, lunge it in his chest. That's my 2 cents. Whoever else wants to chime in, go ahead.
I just want to give a quick opening statement, right? First of all, this seems like a one-sided conversation, right? They're saying what uh Carmelo said. They're saying that he said, "Put your hands on me," and then punch me. But what was said to him? Nobody's talking about what was said to him or what was done to him. I think at best here, what you have is a manslaughter charge. I think he was overly charged. It was brought out last night that there's three different charges: capital murder, murder, and manslaughter. And I think that he has a manslaughter charge here. It's going to be hard to be proven to be a murder charge. And he's also a minor. So this was a youthful offender charge. I think at best, he may be facing 10 years, maybe less than that. Peace.
Yeah, I got I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but they're in Texas, which has a stand your ground law. And if you know anything about Texas, they really promote weapons, guns, and it's just one of those things in Texas. And he doesn't have the duty to retreat. So if he really feared for his life, did he do anything wrong? Because we hear that all the time when somebody's killed and we feel like they were killed unjustly. The person always say, I feared for my life. So if he really feared for his life and he had a weapon to protect himself, which is promoted in Texas, what should he have done?
Well, two, I'm going to jump in. This is positive. I think you guys are taking this situation and comparing it to something that the adult would do, right? When you're a kid and you're in school, you're not supposed to have knives or weapons, right? And I blame the parents for that. But these kids weren't dumb. I mean, you can see their scores in school. I mean, these kids were very smart, right? And he knew what he. I mean, bringing a knife to school if something happens, he knew what he was going to face. He stabbed this guy over a fight. Fights happen all the time. Fights happened when I was in school, and you get a broken nose, a nosebleed, but nobody got killed, right? Once you take a knife to school and stab someone in the I don't know, wherever he stabbed him, the kid died, chest, right? And the kid died, you're at fault off the bat. Now, I'm not saying that it was okay, right, for him to get bullied or pushed. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying once you take a knife to school and something like this happens, you're at fault. And I know earlier we had a conversation and you guys were justifying it, and I don't know how you guys can justify that.
Well, you can charge him with having a knife at school, but my question still is not answered. If he feared for his life and he was able to protect himself, what did he do wrong?
Well, too, so obviously he wasn't in the middle of like some woods and he didn't have anyone that he could run to, right? There was parents, there was teachers, there was coaches, whatever it is. It's an event. There's a lot of people, okay? He could have ran up to someone, an adult or coach, and said, "Look, this kid is threatening me, and this is what he did to me." That's what kids do, right? They go and tell.
No.
I mean, or they say, "Let's go in the back," and they have a fist fight, right? That's the worst thing that could happen. But nobody would die,
But
right?
this what you're missing though, positive. He's in a stand your ground state. He doesn't have the duty to retreat. See, in these red states, they make these crazy laws. So in that state, he doesn't have the duty. He does It's not his responsibility to run, get somebody, do any of that thing. The law states that he can stand his ground and defend himself. He don't have to retreat.
Does that law apply to children in school also?
It applies to
Yes,
any
Yes.
human being.
It does say that
Yeah.
it
you can actually.
does.
Yes.
Did you see in
Yes.
one case where it was a
Hold on, guys. I'm asking
16? Do you see if in one case where it was a 16, 17-year-old kid and a grown man stood his ground on Trayvon Martin?
Okay,
So it
look.
doesn't matter if you're a child, adult, rights apply to every human that's in the
So,
United
chat.
States.
You live in Texas, right, chat?
Hmm.
Or you guys live in Texas?
I
Whoever
live in
lives in.
Texas.
Okay, so you know the
I
laws
live
in
in
Texas.
Georgia and we have a
Does
stand your ground law here in
can,
Georgia.
can
It's
kids
universal.
carry knives in school for their
No,
own protection?
no.
There you go. That's all I was gonna say.
But you're not understanding. Charge them for having a knife at school. But it doesn't matter. We have a saying, I'd rather get caught with it than get caught without it.
Now
So
you're switching
maybe
it.
he
Now you're
broke a
switching it
rule.
to. First, you told
No,
me
I'm
it was
not
the law.
pushing it. Maybe he broke a rule by
No,
having
you're
a knife.
switching it
Hold
too.
on,
You're
let me
switching it.
just finish my sentence,
First, you
bro.
said there's law in Texas, right? You can protect yourself
It's
with a knife.
you can protect yourself and it's promoted.
Hold on one second. I
You
asked you,
cut
does
me
that
off.
apply
You
to
cut me
children
off
in
though.
school? You said
Fonzie, what's
yes,
up?
and then Chad just came and said no.
She said no, he can't. He's not supposed to have a knife at
Is
school.
against the law to
It's
have
not
a knife
against the
in
law.
school.
It's not against the
Okay,
law. It's against the rule.
Chad, is
That
it against the law to
if
have a
that
knife in
bro, will you
school as
let
a
somebody
kid?
Question.
else talk? So if
Question.
that
Question.
knife is
Question. Question.
the
Real quick.
knife,
Real quick.
go ahead.
Question. Was he charged with having a knife at school?
No.
There you
Okay,
go.
so there you go.
Now, Chad, is it against the law to have a knife in school?
They didn't charge him with that positive. You missing
No.
it.
Hold on one second,
If it
too.
was
I'm
against the
asking her
law,
a
they would have
question.
charged him with it.
It's
Two.
not against the law, it's against school policy. The law states that he can. School policy says that he cannot.
Okay, the law says that children can actually take knives to school and
The
protect.
law, the law, yes, the law says that of under 5 inches that he could, but the school, which supersedes that, the school policy is no. This is
So,
this. Yeah, no, I answered your question. The law says yes.
so,
School policy says no.
And the
so the school
guardrails
has
they
their
Yeah,
own
are.
but
law.
you
So
don't you
schools.
don't you don't go to jail for
breaking school policies, right? So I think this is out of the equation, if you will. And I think ultimately, when you think about it, right, we're thinking about a 17-year-old that was afraid of for his life, right?
See,
Is that where did
the
you hear that? Where did that narrative come out of that he was
Um,
afraid for his life?
Yeah, Lennon, you're
you know,
underwater. You're gonna have to come back, Lennon. You're in the matrix. I don't think that came out, Jennifer. I mean, this is a narrative that Lennon wants to paint. And this could be used as a defense. We did speak about this, the difference in size, right? 6'2", 255, 5'9", 150, sorry, 6'2", 235, 5'9", 155. And
155.
Yes,
and the
in the
guard,
didn't he tell the
stands,
police?
in
Didn't
the
he tell the
stands
police
of
he was
Frisco,
defending himself?
Texas,
Me,
around.
me and this dude are almost the same size.
Okay, and there was like a ton of parents and a lot of families and people all in the stands, correct? And I mean, I don't
We don't
understand.
know that. We know that there were
Okay, so we
probably
don't
people in
know. We
this.
don't know that he
Are
was
you going to
threatened
ask
either.
and wait for someone to answer? Or you want to go?
No, I'm just saying. I was talking, and you said you don't know that, and so I was saying that we don't know a lot of things, so we can't put these narratives on it. That his life was threatened. I mean, they're both were had egos. They both went at each other, it's a tragic situation.
Didn't he
There's
tell
yeah,
the
no.
police he was?
We don't even
Didn't
know
he
the
tell
size
the
How
of the
police
how
he was
knife.
how did they
defending himself?
both?
We don't
So
even know
let
the
me
size of
let
the
me
knife.
one
one
second.
mic on chat. One mic on
Yeah,
chat.
one second.
Sharing the ship.
So yes, there are a lot of assumptions, and so we do have to, keep with what we know is factual. And I'll probably play the clip from the spokesperson. But we do know that Austin initiated contact. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not. I don't
Okay,
even
well, I'll
know.
tell you. He initiated contact. He did.
Okay, and he
He attempted
made
to
contact. Like
remove
what kind
to
of
physically
contact?
rem- he
Enough to
attempted
get
to
stabbed to death?
physically remove he attempted to physically remove Carmelo from the area. So why didn't he go and tell the teachers and the coaches and stuff? Why didn't he go and say, "Hey, there's somebody that's in our area"? Who made him the guard for the area?
I
Why
I
didn't
have
he
no
go and
idea.
speak to a teacher? And that's to the space, that's to the room, not just to you.
I
But
mean,
why,
that was my
but
leading point.
what'd you say, Devon?
That's been my leading point for ever since we've been having this conversation. No student has authority over another student. You're not an authority figure. And again, why didn't he say, "Hey, there's a guy over here. He shouldn't be over here." But again, you even chat. You said the culture is we go under other tents all the time. It's raining. Hey, come up out the rain. We're all athletes. Why the animosity? Why the get from under my tent? There's 9 schools here. Why single out Carmelo? Why was Carmelo there? These are the questions that we're asking. I know we want to deal with facts, but I said this the other day. If you're approached by someone and they're almost a foot taller than you and they're telling you to get out of here, I mean, and you're not a punk, right? Obviously, he's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not an authority figure to me. You're an athlete just like I am. Why are
He's
you
a
telling me?
peer.
Right. Why are you telling me to get from under this tent? Touch me and watch what happens. I land.
There's no indication that Austin Metcalf ran track. What authority does he have to even
Yeah,
tell
he
him to
does.
run to me?
Yeah, we established this last
He
night.
did field events.
Yeah,
So he ran track.
one does discus. No, this was a track and field event. So one does discus, one does javelin, and I believe they also play football. We know football coaches encourage athletes to go on out there and take and do track and keep you in shape and get your speed up. Right. So that's not up for discussion. I land.
Well,
So
we
my
do know that
oh,
they're
go ahead.
rival, like, because there's 12 high schools in Frisco. So we're not talking about a small town here, and so they were both at different high schools. So they were rivals. Maybe that's what caused the problem. Maybe there was like they knew him from playing sports. I don't know. So maybe that was maybe some part of it. Who knows? Because we we don't
The
know
the
because
spokesperson
nothing
said
has
they
come
did
out.
not know each other. The
Okay.
spokesperson said that they didn't know each other. Maybe I should get that. Maybe that helped. But
Yeah,
he
I
said,
don't know. Like
but
the
his English is horrible. But I don't get it. But
Can y'all hear me? Hello?
huh? Now we can. Were you
Okay.
speaking?
Yeah, I was trying to speak.
Oh, go ahead, huh?
Thank you. Let's just get this one thing straight. Austin Metcalf would be alive today if it wasn't for his own actions. I know you guys want to divorce this from the legal, the courtroom and remove it from the legal jurisprudence that'll govern, what the jury hears and what the jury can consider when they go back to to their deliberation room. So let's have just a frank conversation. Something that I don't think people that trying to argue that Carmelo Anthony killed this man out of malice or killed him out of, revenge or whatever it is. I don't think anybody can dispute, at least a fair minded individual can dispute, that but for Anthony Metcalf's decisions that day, but for Anthony Metcalf's actions and his conduct, Anthony, Anthony, Austin, sorry, Austin Metcalf would be alive today. That's a fact. Because Carmelo Anthony was sitting, minding his own business, wasn't bothering a soul, didn't present a threat to anyone, but somebody walked up to him and presented a threat. And if we're going to be honest, if we're going to be
Are you there,
sorry,
buddy?
yeah. Sorry, I accepted a co-host. If we're going to be fair arbiters of the morality, the contextual morality of this occurrence, a fair assessment would conclude that but for Anthony Metcalf's actions, he would be alive today. And I wonder if anybody wants to contend with that argument.
Yeah, I want
I
to contend with that
agree.
argument. You're blaming Austin, not Anthony, Austin, um, for for stabbing himself in the chest.
No, for inciting the reason in which he was
Yeah,
stabbed.
No,
but
I'm blaming Austin for going out of his way to assault another innocent student. That's what I'm blaming Austin for. And you can't refute that. You can't refute that Carmelo Anthony was innocent when he was sitting there minding his own damn business.
he's
You
not
can't
innocent after he
you can't
shoved a knife
we're,
in the
we're not
man's
we're not
chest.
talking about that's fine. We can get to the stabbing. But before you get to the stabbing, you have to deal with the assault. Was the assault warranted? Was the assault legal? Was the assault protected by any theory of law? And
I don't know. I wasn't there.
if you can't come to any conclusion that that Metcalf's actions was justified, then you understand the difference between a causal relationship and effect. You understand the difference between what a causal and effective relationship is. What caused the action?
We
Did
don't know. We
Carmelo?
weren't there.
No, don't say we don't know. There's a lot we know. You don't do yourself justice when you say we don't know. We do know that Metcalf assaulted him. True or false?
But Jesse, can
Allegedly.
I ask a question?
One
True.
second, man. That's
Oh,
TC and Jonathan. Go ahead.
You you make the argument that of something that's not in dispute, Jonathan.
I'm not
Respectfully.
I'm making the argument that they were both wrong, honestly. I'm
No, no,
making
no,
the
no, no, no,
argument that
no,
they
no.
were
I'm
both
not
wrong.
there. We
But
can deal with
Austin is not to blame for his own death. That
we
escalated.
can deal with
I understand what you're
Anthony in
saying.
a second. We can deal with
Austin.
Anthony in a second.
Austin.
No, I'm talking about Anthony. No, I'm
Anthony.
talking about
Okay.
Anthony. Anthony. We can deal with Anthony in a second. I just want to go through a chronology. You understand what chronology
Yeah,
is,
I know what
Jonathan?
chronology is, TC. I'm
All
not an
right.
idiot.
I'd like to deal with the chronology of what we're
Oh
discussing.
boy.
What was the cause of Metcalf's attack of Anthony?
Are you going to tell us? Because it's your
No,
story.
I'm asking
No, he's
you. I
asking you.
want you to be honest. I want you to be honest. What caused? What was the stimulus that led to Austin's? You can't answer that question, can you? And I don't
No,
expect you
I
to,
can't.
because
I
you're a
can't because
logical, rational
I
human
was not
being.
there. I
Because you're a
cannot answer that
logical,
question. I
rational.
don't
No, that
have
has nothing to
why.
do with it.
I do not have why he
I
approached him in the
wasn't there
tent.
when
I
George
do not have why.
Washington. I wasn't
Listen,
there when George
I don't
Washington crossed the
have why
Delaware.
he
Okay, but
approached
I
him in the
know it
tent.
still happened.
I don't know if there's
I'm not
any.
asking you why.
Okay,
I'm not asking
never
you
mind,
why.
TC. It's
The
all good.
WHY is the WHY, Jonathan, never came out of my mouth. It was the WHAT. There's a very important distinction between the WHY and the WHAT. Well, I wasn't there when George Washington crossed the Delaware River in
Yeah.
the Revolutionary
Okay.
War, but I know it happened. I
But you
know that he
don't know what
got the
happened
vote.
in everything that happened before the recording of the incident, the details of the incident. We don't know what happened. We don't have a clue. There could be so much more, and we're just saying this. Okay.
Yeah, he's underwater. Well,
Yeah,
Jonathan,
it's all
what
good.
we do know from the police report and from announcement, TC, you're underwater. The conversation was something like,
I know what the
um,
conversation was something
okay,
like, but we
so
don't know what happened before that. We don't know what. We
no, but
actually
we're
don't
not
even
talking.
know that
But
much of the
Jonathan,
conversation.
respectfully, that's not what
And
we're talking about.
respectfully,
We're talking about
yeah,
putting hands on him caused the reaction. That's what we're getting at.
Okay.
I
Uh,
get that. Go ahead, John.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go.
Why is
So
this so difficult, and why are you avoiding that specific point? I'm just curious. That's very odd to me. When it comes to the details and the specificity of the entire
What
ordeal, it's clear to bring that up.
don't,
TC, you're underwater. TC.
Luis, I don't know because there's a lot of shit that goes into the kids are kids. They're dumb. There's a lot of shit that happens though that the parents don't know about that we probably don't know about. And I think it's a little bit insane to put all of the blame on one of these kids when we don't know everything that happened. We honestly don't know everything that happened. And, people were saying, oh, it's bullying. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. We don't know. And I don't know that we will know. But I think
Yes, we will.
both sides, what do we know? We know everything that happened before. We don't.
Hey,
No,
guys.
but go ahead.
No, go
Let
ahead,
me
Louis.
help. Let me help
But
you, Jonathan. Let me help you,
nope.
Jonathan. Let me help you with this one. So this is from what we're hearing to answer TC's question. If you're on the tent that my school is at, and me and my friends and my twin brother show up, and somebody who is not supposed to be there is there, we're gonna ask you to move so we can be under the tent that the school has provided for us. So we're gonna ask you to move if
Okay.
you
and I don't
Track
move.
meets in the world I've ever been to, if a kid wandered under the tent, no one on my son's team or no one did I ever witness anyone be like, get the hell out of here, bro. Like, no. They're like, I've never seen that kind of a violent reaction to just some other kid walking under a tent because, like, that just doesn't add up if you've been to enough track meets. That's not how people treat each other at track meets. It's just not like a violent thing if somebody were to walk under your tent because it was raining. Normally, the schools know each other. A lot of kids know each other on the opposing teams. They went to middle school together. If it was a state meet, might be a little different, but still, I've never seen that kind of reaction. And I've been under many track tents with the kids for over 4 years in a row, and never did I see that kind of violent reaction by someone wandering under a tent. So that is not really, unless you've been at a track meet. I know Chat has, I know a few other people have. I mean, would you really be that upset? That kind of doesn't add up.
It
Mary,
doesn't add
Mary
up
Land,
on
can I
either
ask you?
side.
that's not
Mary Land, let me
okay.
ask you a question, Mary Land, because I want to make sure that you understand.
Yeah.
What the violent reaction? What violent reaction are you speaking about?
I'm talking like, so let's say you're okay, so my son's school, Northeast High School,
No, no, but you said
right?
that kind of violent reaction.
Yeah,
Cause
that
I
kind of
wasn't.
like, bro, get out of our tent. And like that kind of, I mean, like initial reaction, I should have said. That initial reaction to the kid who's from the opposing team, like nobody really reacts like that. You could be the biggest high school rivals in football. I can see that. They are juiced up, they are adrenaline, but like track meets are pretty dang chill, even at the state level. Um,
Yeah,
we
but
had even
they were football players and they do play each other. So there might be
right, but they
aggression.
weren't playing football. My son played football too, all football,
Right. No,
just about
no.
every single football player.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I'm a former track coach. I get what you're saying. I
yeah,
would never that. It's weird to me too to hear that.
yeah,
Get out of here because it was never like that. Yeah.
never.
And but I'm saying is that they might have, and what we've been told is that they didn't know each other, but they might. What you're saying is like if football players are going at each other, that they had that visceral reaction. Was I don't know what reaction you're talking about. Like, do
A
we
visceral is
know?
better, not violent. Violent would be the stabbing, the overreaction to somebody walking under your tent, like telling them to get the hell out of there. I just never witnessed that. I ran track.
Yeah,
My son
same.
ran track. I've never seen anything that happen. And I ran track in Sag Nasty, where Damon Green is from. So like it wasn't. It was
Yeah,
like a pretty
yeah,
So
I get
let's
it,
successful
but
go.
it
kid.
doesn't. Uh, I mean, then
So
I'm
it's
not
not the
I
same
sure.
as stabbing.
can
Can
I
I play a clip from the
Yeah.
spokesperson? If y'all can't see the screen, you have to go down and we'll bring you back up. Can I just play a little bit of it? Y'all mind?
No, go ahead, chat.
All right, thanks.
It has a problem in it. Now, what I want to be able to do is ensure, and what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reassuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry. We have saw the police chief a statement being sent out by the police chief that was false. We have saw a false autopsy report that was false. We have to caution the community to say, hey, we cannot trust everything that is online. The disinformation that is going online is hurting this case. And it stopped. It has to stop, y'all. As we know it right now, Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony did not know each other. They did not know each other. Let's stop it. They were not at a party together. Let's stop the lies regarding this situation. We also know that both Austin Metcalf, the twin brothers, were on the roster that day to be at that track meet. We also know that Carmelo Anthony was on the roster that day to be at that track meet. We know they both arrived, all of them arrived to this facility via the transportation of Frisco ISD. The lies has to stop, y'all. Far as the legal strategy, I'm not talking about that today because that's not my place. I'm not the lawyer.
Okay, back to y'all.
I stepped
I
down. Is that a
mean,
family member?
That is the Carmelo's family spokesperson. He's with NGAN, which is a nonprofit advocacy group. So he isn't the attorney, but he is speaking on behalf of the family.
I think. Listen, I think for all those people that are saying that Metcalf, deserves more, deference. I would probably agree with you, but for the reality of the context of the historical context in which we live in with the stand your ground, I might be willing to agree with you guys that the action was over the top if it wasn't for George Zimmerman being found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Hell, I might even be willing to agree with you guys that this was murder, but for the reality that Kyle Zimmerman was exonerated and found not guilty by a jury of his peers. So if it's good for George Zimmerman and it's good for Kyle Rittenhouse, explain to me why it's not good for Carmelo Anthony.
because the situations are totally different.
What's the differences
One
of law?
is, for one, says it again, last part.
What are the legal differences? What makes this case
So
not stand your
let
ground?
let let's start with Zimmerman. Zimmerman, hands were thrown in terms of one. It's one saying, the other saying. There was no eyewitness, and there's one survivor. Correct me if I'm wrong with that.
No, you're
A
correct.
dead
There was
man
one
cannot.
survivor,
A
no
dead
no
man
no
cannot
witnesses.
speak. Correct, and a dead man
There were
cannot speak.
75 witnesses.
In the
Where in
Zimmerman?
Zimmerman's case?
Oh, I'm sorry, not the Zimmerman case. I'm sorry.
So he's referencing something that is over the top with something that is straightforward, a straight cut. And that's what I'm saying. You cannot reference that. When you go to Rittenhouse, that's a different case where you have, and if you watch the videos, the guys went after the guy with the gun. If you see somebody have a gun, why go after him?
But that's not a legal distinction. If they saw him with the gun, why go
What
after him?
the?
If Austin Metcalf saw Anthony with the knife, why go after him?
And that's the point that we cannot make. We cannot assume that the gentleman saw the knife. We can't assume that.
So let's say he didn't see the knife. What gave him the right to go after him? I just don't see the difference here. I'm failing to see how one person attacking another person in a stand your ground state doesn't entitle the victim to the stand your ground defense. I'm,
Do we
I'm
know
missing
it
that
was an
point.
attack? Does anybody
Yes,
know
we
what
we
how
we know that it's an assault. We know that
what was the
Anthony
assault?
told. Okay, it's very clear. Anthony
Okay.
said, "You touch me, and you'll see what happens," which is a very clear and apparent warning to Metcalf not to touch him. What does he do? What
Was
does
it was it
Metcalf
a
do with
war?
that information?
What was it
But
a war?
Mackie, you consider
TC?
it warning. I consider it taunting, though. He taunted him.
Okay, let's say it was a taunt.
That's
Fine.
a
Let's say
clear
it was.
warning. That is a
Let's say
clear warning.
we know it's a warning, but even if it was a taunt, does that give him the right to put his hands on him? Like, you guys miss me with this shit, man. You guys keep doing this. You keep coming up with excuses for Metcalf, but you can't answer the question. It did not give him justification to put his hands on him. Stop it.
As much as we can debate this, you're right. He doesn't get the right to put his hands on
So
somebody,
then stop
but
for a
that does.
second. Stop for a second. So then does what stops Anthony from being entitled to stand your ground in Texas? And let's try and leave the fact that he's a black kid out of it.
I mean, could you
It
could you
doesn't.
could you could you just could you play the conversation out though? Like when he said, "Put your hands on me." What had to be said to him? And then when he says, "Punch me," what had to be said to him?
I'm about to punch you in your face. That's what he was said to him.
Yeah, it had to be that. It had to be a threat because there's no way that
That
you get
part.
to that. You get to that in the conversation unless somebody said something to you.
But
And the
you
God
guys are
is a
making
hundred
a
percent.
one second, You guys are making a lot of assumptions. I'm trying to sit back. There's a lot of
And that's the
assumptions.
thing.
Please don't. Hey, Jadam. Yeah, you guys are making a lot. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you guys are making a lot of assumptions here, and assuming that that's what was said, and that that you don't know what was said. You got to wait until you get that information. So you guys are basing it on the assumption, oh, this is how it should go. Let me just say this right here. I think the stand your ground case. I'm sorry. It sounds more like an invitation and not a warning. Put your hands on me and see what happens. Now to Austin. Now, and you guys got to look at cultural differences here. That may be a warning, and it could be a warning in one community, okay, but someone that's not familiar with that community it could be an invitation. All right, so we're not, we're ignoring that. We're
Yeah,
ignoring
but
all of
Jonathan,
that.
Is it?
but
Isn't that
Jonathan,
defense
hold on,
alone? Well, hold on,
hold on.
hold on, real quick. Even that defense alone, that's an assumption. You're making a cultural assumption with
That's
regards
correct.
to the interpretation of that warning.
That's
Are you not?
correct.
No,
You're
no.
correct,
What
Luis.
I'm
You,
saying
you,
to you,
that's
what
exactly what you just did, Jonathan.
no, no, no. What I said to you, okay? Because I haven't spoken anyway. What I'm saying is that's something that you guys need to consider in your argument when you're speaking. But once again, we don't. He's gonna have to prove that that was his frame of mind, okay? And it may be tough to prove to that jury that's what he meant, okay? So of course he's gonna say that's what he meant. Of course, he's gonna say no. It wasn't an invitation, because if it was an invitation, it takes away his stand your ground rights. Okay, defense takes away the stand your ground defense. All right, because here's the deal, guys. If it's a stand your ground case, it doesn't even go to trial. All right, so let's be mindful of that. Just
Well,
you know,
well, to you, Jonathan, how do you get to put your hands on me?
I don't. Okay, I don't.
Exactly. It's just
It's,
not something that you just say casually in the conversation. Yeah, put your hands on me then. You don't just say that.
once again, those are assumptions.
No, it's not an assumption. I'm just saying in a casual
That
conversation,
100%, that
right? You're
100%
not just
is.
gonna say, put your hands on me.
I've done it.
Oh
I've
yeah?
done it. Yeah,
Because somebody approached you in a threatening manner.
of course. So
Exactly.
what I perceive to be possibly threatening. I've done it. Hell, I've done it. With, like, I have older brothers and cousins. We used to fight all the time, and before I would do that just to make myself appear more threatening. So no, I get that. But what I'm trying to say to you guys is this right here. Look here. I think I'll be honest with you. I think Austin was wrong for taking this on, and I think Carmelo, to be honest with you, I think he doesn't have a stand your ground case. If he truly had a stand your ground case, I don't think he would be incarcerated at this moment. Carmelo,
Stop it. Stop it.
let me finish, bro. I didn't interrupt you. Don't do that. All right. And the reason I'm saying that is because he was 17 years old, and he made a lot of statements when he was arrested, okay, that you don't know about. All right, because we do know about one dumbass statement he made when he was arrested, when he told the police, "I'm not alleged. I am the guy. I am the person that did it." Okay, so you don't know what else was said by a fighting 17-year-old that may have decimated his stand your ground case. So when you guys are sitting here saying that, and it will come out, okay. So you guys, that's why I say you guys are making a lot of
But
assumptions.
how does that decimate the case? Him saying I'm not alleged, I'm the one that did it.
Bro, what I said was we know he made that statement. And once again, I'm gonna clarify it because I don't think you understood what I said. I said he said that statement. We don't know what other statements he made. Okay, because he's a fighting 17-year-old kid. That's exactly what I said. So I didn't say that decimated his case. I said you don't know.
You
Here,
said that
here.
could. You said that
He
could
said
have. That
No,
could
no,
he
no,
have
no,
also
no, no.
asked
the
if the kid
fix.
was all right.
No. What I said, and I know exactly what I said was no. I said you don't know what else he could have said. Okay, that could have
That's what I
decimated his
said.
case. Yeah, yeah. What else he could have? What else he could have said? So let me just say this right here. I'll give you guys an example of a personal example. I was being questioned by the police in a murder case of a friend of mine. Okay, and the detective came and the detective said to me was he asked me a question. I said, "Look, I'm not saying nothing because I don't want to get nobody in trouble. Innocuous enough, right?" So pretty much kept my mouth shut. I was called to the stand, and they started asking me questions, and I was sitting there, and I was like, and so they said, well, when we approached you, did you say you're not going to say anything because you don't want to get anyone in trouble? And when they said it in court, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. When they said it in court, it sounded horrible as hell, but it was an innocuous statement. I was young. I was 18 years old, like 18, 19 years old. I didn't, I was young as hell, and I'm like, uh, and I lied. Like, I didn't say that, you know. And it was my word against their word, you know. But it's one of those things where something is innocuous like that. Yo, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I ain't trying to get my in trouble. Something me saying something like that became evidence against the person. So you don't. That's why they tell you keep your mouth shut. Don't say a word. So you don't know what this kid said on his ride down to the police station. I land.
Okay, so really quickly, you don't know what he said. That statement in and of itself implies an assumption, means he could have said something that implicates him or takes away his tenure ground. That's an ambiguity, right? Which is the mere premise of an ambiguity. It lies on the assumption, right? Look, taking all these things considered, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I absolutely have to agree with TC, right?
Yeah, Luis, you're in the water, man. You sound really bad. Yeah, you sound really, really bad. Hey guys,
And that's a tragedy because that man was agreeing with
yeah,
me.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
Yeah.
tragedy.
One second, one second. And when reason I said that, what I said, because TC said what he said, and about when I said, oh, you know, like this would if it was a stand your ground, if they thought it was a true stand your ground, he wouldn't be arrested right now. Okay, so that's why I said what I said. Okay, because in stand your ground cases, when they believe that is a true stand your ground case, they don't arrest. The prosecutors don't arrest typically.
Hey, Jonathan, listen, this is the problem with that argument. We don't give a rat's ass. An arrest is all an arrest is that there's probable cause to believe that a crime occurred. What you're describing as if it's some sort of like conclusory decision that's made by the police or the sheriff or the prosecutor that a crime did not occur. That's bullshit, Jonathan. I mean, like you would have to dispel reality to suggest that in Texas, when a kid says it's not alleged, I did it, I killed him.
Bro, don't
That's
do that.
not.
They don't
That's
do that
not. That's not.
because I didn't
I didn't
speak to
do
that
anything.
statement.
Hold on. Hold on.
I
Hold on.
didn't speak to that statement
Hold on.
solely.
What you're saying is if the police did not believe, if the police believed that this was stand your ground, he would not be
This
arrested.
is not a
It's
police.
a good thing. It's
You
a
don't know. 1 second. You don't know the procedures. Obviously, it's not a police decision. It's a prosecutor decision. Okay. The
no.
police.
You don't know. You don't know the procedures
Uh,
clearly. It's a police decision. It's
it
not a
is not a police
prosecutor.
decision. It is
So
not a
maybe
police
you should.
decision.
How much you want to bet on it?
It,
How much you
it
want to
is
bet?
not a police
How
decision.
much do you want to bet? When a police officer is on the scene of a crime, it is the police officer's decision to make a determination whether there's enough probable cause to believe that a crime occurred and he can make an arrest. It is not a prosecutor's decision until it's
No,
charging time.
once again, TC, I'm talking about stand your ground. Let's not do that.
I
Stand
think
your
you
Let's,
guys
ground
are
is a
talking
wait, wait, wait,
about
wait,
TC.
guys.
I wanna agree with you,
No,
TC.
wait, Sir
I
Jude.
wanna agree with
Sir
you. Hold on
Jude,
though.
I don't need your help.
Okay, go ahead.
Stand your ground is a defense. It is not an evaluation of whether a crime was committed.
You guys are talking about two different things. You're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
he's talking
arrest.
about something totally
You're
different.
talking about
No,
arrest. He's
he wants
talking
to be
about
right.
prosecution.
One second. He wants to be right, guys. Listen to me. The
Has nothing to do
prosecutor.
with being right.
1 second, guys. When before they make charges like that, especially in a case that could be a capital case, they get the prosecutor's office involved. All right. So I know that I'm not going to argue that because I don't have time to argue stupid tonight. I know that's a fact. Okay. So that and the prosecutor office, is what tells them what to write the paperwork up
So
as.
then why was Kyle Rittenhouse successfully able to argue stand your ground and he was charged? Why was George Zimmerman able to successfully be
No, no,
charged, and he was able to defend
bro,
himself and
bro,
stand his
bro,
ground?
bro. Once again, I didn't say that. Once again, I didn't say that in all instances. Okay,
You're
I
turning
know.
yourself into a pretzel, and you don't have to do that,
Actually, no,
Jonathan.
I didn't. TC, listen to me. You come here and you try to do an exercise. I know what I said. I have not bent for anything I've said yet. Okay, and I'm willing to bet, yeah, I don't know, $250 right now on this stage that I'm correct in everything I freaking said just now. All you man,
I'll take your bet. I'll take
you
your
take my
bet.
bet?
I'll take your bet.
Okay,
I'll
so
Let's
take your bet.
clarify the
the bet here is when it comes to charges of murder, it's the prosecutor's office that decides that. Okay, and when it comes to those charges, okay, that's who makes those decisions. All right, and that's what and I'll, like I said, that's the bet. Let's go.
You didn't
for
say anything.
for
Wait,
clar
no, no,
for
hold on, Luis. Hold on, Luis. Luis.
Don't
This
do
is
it.
this is this is revisionist history because
It's not revisionist history. That's exactly what I
what you
said.
said was stand your ground. If they believe it was a stand your ground situation, they would have never arrested him. Is what you said, Jonathan.
correct.
That's
Okay. Okay. No.
false.
No. What I did not say that. I didn't say they would never arrested him. I never used the word never. Okay. What I
Correct.
said is I said if it was a true stand your ground
They
case.
wouldn't
Uh-huh.
charge him.
Hold on.
Exactly. Exactly. They
So then you'd have to argue why was Kyle Rittenhouse exonerated under stand your ground,
Charge and
he
arrest is
wasn't
two
exonerated
different
under
things.
stand your ground. He was exonerated under his defense that he
which
had a
was
right.
stand your ground.
But that's a different state with different laws, though. So you can't
Exactly.
argue that.
No, 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 but that's not what Jonathan was
I
talking about.
mean,
He didn't
but
talk
listen,
about
it's
states. He didn't talk
persuasive.
about laws.
A
He
different
said
state is
if it
not is
was
not is not binding. It's persuasive. A different state. They don't have the exact same laws.
God, why the fuck are you
But
telling
but
me that?
TC,
I know that shit. You don't have to convince me that it was a different state. I know what state it was in. It was in Wisconsin. I'm not asking you about the differences
But
between
that means
Wisconsin
that their
law
stand
and
your
Texas
ground may
law.
be different. They have different stand your ground laws. You don't know if they're exactly the same.
That's not what That's not what Jonathan said. What Jonathan said that this was a true stand your
You know,
ground
TC,
defense, they
TC,
would have
TC,
never
TC.
arrested him, or fine, they would have never charged him. Fine,
No,
let's just go with
no,
charged
no,
him.
no. I did not
The
say.
reason why you have a defense,
TC, I'm speaking 1 second, man, because once again, I said, in terms of the likelihood of him, like I said, because you never know what he said. Obviously, he must have said something, or something must have been done where they doubt that this is a stand your ground, that they feel that they can get a charge out of this. Essentially, is what
That's
I'm
an
saying.
assumption.
Of course, it's an assumption. That's
We're all
But
exactly
making
th-
what.
but
assumptions.
but
We're
they
all
can't
making a ton
make
of
the
assumptions.
assumption that that will be the defense and not arrest him.
they don't
They
know what
they
his
have they
defense
don't
would
know
be.
what his defense will be, so they have to
That's why
charge
that
him with something.
you're
No,
right,
no,
Chad. That's
no,
why this
no.
doesn't even belong
No,
in
no.
consideration.
One second, guys. There's plenty of cases of stand your ground where people wasn't arrested. They went down,
when
they
it's clear,
spoke. Wait, they went down and they spoke, and they let them go.
Jonathan,
when it's clear
You
cut,
can't
if
assume
it's
a
a clear cut,
defense though. He did, and
I'm
then
not
he
assuming the
and he's
defense.
seven and he's
T,
17 too.
exactly. TC's assuming the defense, not me. I'm actually keeping it open. I'm being, I'm the one that I've kept it wide open. Okay. T,
TC, what Jonathan is saying. Let me help you, Jonathan. What Jonathan is saying. Remember, there's
Jonathan
a
don't need
case
no
where.
help.
he
No, just
does.
1 second. I just want to show you something. Remember, there's a case where a man came out of a car and he approached another guy in a pickup truck with a gun, and the guy in the pickup truck just floored him on the floor right there, shot him in the chest.
Yes.
That case never went to trial because that is a clear cut stand your ground because everything is on video. So they didn't. They took him to the station. They questioned him. What happened? Then they released him. That's a clear cut. But because it's
Hold
so
on. Let me explain to you why what you're saying is wrong. In Georgia,
you know what, TC? We've been centering this too long. I want to
in
move on.
Georgia, well, no, but hold on.
No,
But
no, no,
in
no.
Georgia,
I want to move on.
I
Okay.
thought
No,
Divine was moderating this conversation, Jonathan.
once again, we know if Divine is going to let it become the TC show, we're gonna have to move on. I'm sorry. No, because There's others that want to contribute.
All right, let me say this and I'm
Okay.
done. I'm done.
Can I add
I'm
something
done.
in real quick?
Let me just
Go
say
ahead,
this and
Joe.
I'm
Go ahead,
done.
Joe. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Just real quick. I think the point that we're missing, man, these red states that push the culture of guns and weapons, and then they create these stand your ground laws, and then when something happened like this, people got to realize these laws and culture they're for everybody. Why are we surprised when you in a state like Texas? You seen the kids they're taking pictures with AR-15s and stuff. So they push this culture. So what do you expect to happen? You know what I mean? They're telling you you don't have to retreat. You can protect yourself. If somebody coming at you, you don't have to do anything but protect yourself. And then something happened like this, and we're like all surprised. I think we need to look at changing some of these laws and changing some of this culture around weapons. That's the biggest issue. I think it is.
I think I'll say this and I'll read what he said because I want to make sure from this affidavit that I have. It said, hold on a second, sorry. In the affidavit, he says one witness told authorities he was sitting under a Memorial High School tent with the team while Metcalf and Anthony were sitting nearby. Anthony was sitting under the team's tent when Metcalf told him he needed to move. Quote, Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. Metcalf touched Anthony, who then told Metcalf to punch him and see what happens, the witness said. Metcalf then grabbed Anthony to tell him to move again. And that's when Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed Metcalf once in the chest before running away.
Okay.
Can I say something to
Okay.
that
No, no, no.
statement?
One second, chat. What about the? What else did the police say? Do you have what the police said was when they showed up?
They said Metcalf began grabbing his chest, telling people to get help. The affidavit said he was pronounced dead shortly after. Um, the attorney said, I know that my client said it was self-defense. I don't have any reason to disbelieve that, but I need to develop facts, talk to people, and figure out what's going on before I make any statements about what I think happened. But I don't have any reason to think it wasn't self-defense at this time. Um,
Didn't he tell the police he was defending himself? And can he do that? I thought that was said.
He did. He told, let me scroll up. He said, quote, I was protecting myself. Anthony allegedly said unprovoked when Cortez, the resource officer, told him to keep his hands in the air. The officer then communicated to others that he had the alleged suspect in custody, to which Anthony said, I am not alleged, I did it.
But don't that
Cortez
sound like
conducted a
somebody
search and
who?
found no weapons on Anthony.
But
Um,
doesn't that
the
sound like somebody that don't think they did anything wrong? Because he
the
One
telling the
hundred
police,
percent, it
I
does.
The
defended myself.
affidavit states that while walking to the police vehicle with Cortez and another officer, Anthony was emotional and said, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. Another officer at the scene described Anthony as crying hysterically. That was it. Go ahead, too. Oh, he
No, all
also
I'm saying,
asked,
don't
is he
that's,
going to be okay? Anthony allegedly asked from the back seat of the police car.
but
Okay, go
doesn't
ahead.
that,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, no, doesn't that sound like somebody that don't think they did anything wrong? It's because the culture that they live in, they're being told you can stand your ground, it's okay to use weapons. Somebody put their hands on you, defend yourself. So if he thought he didn't do anything wrong, he wouldn't be telling the police, "Oh, I'm not alleged. I did it. I
Chat,
was
chat,
defending myself. I was defending myself."
chat, chat. I got
That's a talk that's been taught, right?
chat. I got a question for you. So, Austin put his hands on him twice.
Yes,
Different.
twice,
I,
like he
I
already
didn't
had
know
his
that.
hand in the
Does that
bag.
change your opinion, bro?
That does. If he put his hands on him twice, yeah, I'm starting.
Wait,
I'm
wait,
gonna
wait, wait.
reevaluate.
Chat. Can you flesh that out a little bit more? Can you recycle what you just said? How did he put his hands on him twice?
Okay, let me walk across the room. So, according to one witness told authorities that he was sitting under a Memorial High School tent with the team while Metcalf and Anthony were sitting nearby. Anthony was sitting under the team's tent when Metcalf told him he needed to move. Quote, Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. Metcalf touched Anthony, who then told Metcalf to punch him and see what happens. Metcalf then grabbed Anthony to tell him to move again, and that's when Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed
Ooh,
Metcalf once in the chest before running away.
wow. So not only
One
was
is
it
the
not a,
aggressor.
Yeah.
not only was it assault, but it was assault with intent to do grave bodily harm.
No,
Because
it didn't
A
say
little bit of
assault.
a
No,
stretch
I
right
disagree with
there.
that. But once again, guys, no, listen to just say I didn't know he touched him twice. Um,
it's Jonathan.
I 1 second, TC. I think he has the right to stand his ground. I didn't know he touched him twice.
Ooh,
Let's go.
I
no,
didn't know he did that twice. He
the
had the
earth
right to stand
doesn't
his ground.
shake because
Now,
Jonathan comes to the realization that his previous points was bullshit.
no, no, actually,
No,
this
no,
is
no. He was working. He was working. He was working on. He was working on on a premise that he was touched one time, right? And
exactly.
I think
And then he said punch me, and before he had a chance to do punch him, he stabbed him. That's what I was working on. And
exactly.
okay, and exactly. And so once again, that's why I've been telling everyone I can't. I don't know where I stand at on this. Okay, but I'll be honest with you. If he touched him twice, that young man had a right to stand his ground. Now, if
There's also a history of bullying there. That wasn't like his first encounter with this particular kid.
no, that's not true.
That's not true.
That
That's not
is
Facts
true.
not in
true.
evidence. Facts not in evidence. We can't consider that.
Okay,
Facts not in
so
evidence.
so so
Okay, okay. So now y'all resolved that though. Could I ask y'all a
Well,
question now?
wait. No.
Okay.
The only thing I gotta figure out is was it via invitation? Okay, that's the only thing that's still outstanding for me. Whether it's via invitation or after warning. If it's
So
via invitation, then he loses his stand your ground. If it was after warning, then he had every right to stand
Oh
his
boy.
ground.
so Jonathan, real quick to that point, right? What's interesting about that affidavit that was given, or that testimony that was given, or that description of what happens, doesn't it seem kind of odd, like something in the beginning was left out? Because they said he sat down in the tent, opened his bag, and then said, touch me and see what happens. Like, who just sits down and then randomly says to nobody talking to them at all, "Hey, touch me and see what happens." You know what I'm saying? To me, that just seems like there's a blank that's left there, either purposely or in the midst of everything happening. I don't know if that was just convenient, but that seems rather odd to me that somebody out of the blue would sit down, open a bag, and just out of nowhere, without anyone saying anything to him, doing anything to him, just opening up and saying, "Touch me and see what happens." Like, who would mention who? Nobody mentioned touching prior to that, to him sitting down. That just seems rather strange and rather odd to me. I don't know if anybody else sees that. That's what I've been saying the whole time. It just doesn't make sense. It's a one sided. It's one sided. It's one sided of the event. It's only one side given, right? And it needs to be more fleshed out. And I want to know why he has $1 million bail on top of that. That's an excessive bail.
There you go. Can I ask if anybody on stage know if there is any case at all in the history of America where there has been a stand your ground case between a black person and a white person and the black person prevails? Any case at all we can refer to?
There are none.
Give, give me
Okay.
30 seconds. Give me 30
Okay.
seconds. I'll tell you.
Wait,
All
what's
right.
the challenge? What's the challenge?
If
Okay,
there is
1 second, guys. We're not gonna what you call all that. If someone said 30 seconds, because that's not what we're doing here. So now listen to me, guys. Hey, guys, if you guys are listening to us at home, debate the news. Make sure you guys download the Chatter Social podcast. I mean the Chatter Social app, and come join us live for a live recording. We do these rooms live weeknights, every night, I should say. Come join us instead of just listening to us at home. You guys can listen to us at home as well as join the conversation. Let your voice be heard. Also, if you're already in the rooms, up top we have the link for the podcast. Man, oh man, this podcast, believe it or not, last night we revisited this because this was a very lively debate, and it lasted to the hours of the morning. So we actually put out 3 episodes today, and it was two and a half episodes of nothing but this case. It got very passionate at times, very heated at times, very informal at times, where the information was there, informational. It was just it's just a great listen. If you guys want to hear last night, all you guys had to do is hit the links up top, and you can download it, whether it's that no matter what platform it's on, whether it's I don't know where you guys get it. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, wherever you listen. But hey, if you guys are over on CH, come up to the stage, and I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to go to Sweetness, because Sweetness, you've been talking a lot of shit in the chat, bro. It's up to you, man. The mic's yours. The time's yours. Let's go.
Beautiful. I'm glad you came around. So yeah, the shit I was saying in the chat was what everybody else, Luis, TC, and trying to justify. You're no different. You'll go back and listen to yesterday. Yeah, still the same ground. Oh boy, well he's black. He's gonna get the same dude that just talked. You're gonna hear his voice, and you're gonna hear me squashing the bullshit at that point, because we all know what this shit is. We all seen it. We've all lived it. Only thing that somebody could do is to be to try to, well, I want to try to find a way to let the dude off and try to repaint it in our mind. And no, man, like TC, absolutely spot on, has been pointing out. You can't have it both ways. So I don't give a damn if there's never been a black one or why or not. We know injustice as black folks. Whether there's ever been anybody that's ever done it before or not is not even in the thought process. The reality is this. You talk, we had to stomach the Zimmerman thing across the board, because by the time you got to Zimmerman and Rittenhouse and all of these situations, you had a million situations that never was broadcast that everybody knew from living in America. And so all of this time, and so when the Zimmerman thing comes along, and all of a sudden now our dude is off, that's not a shock to black folks. Like, oh wow, justice wasn't served. What's a shock is not even a shock. What the cry, what the plea, what the understanding is like. How you gonna keep telling us in America that justice is blind? And we keep seeing this over and over in every single angle. This is one little angle, man. But it speaks to the huge issue of injustice to black folks. And that justice is nowhere near blind in America. And we're gonna keep trying to pretend that we're not seeing what we're seeing. We don't run around just creating BS stories. But when we see what we see and it jumps up on us, and these two little dudes, 5'9", and they run up on him. We've seen that story a million times. So to give the try to, well, a witness it, well, they from that same camp. You think that's the whole? There's 9 other track clubs there, and then to try to create a story to is not stand your ground. To try to, well, the officers said, and well they, there's no way it had to be. It had to be a situation where it was murder because they would know on the scene. To try to put your mind and rationalize that, that's the bullshit I'm not here to stomach for anybody, anywhere, anytime. Family, friend, I don't give a damn what it is, man. Now you're not doing justice by the scene, whether that person's black or white. You disqualify yourself from even thinking about talking about anything when it's about justice and what the truth of the matter is, man. Because everything in the American justice system of trying to do the right thing and any justice system on the planet, moral says, give that man the benefit of the doubt. You can't say, oh, he wasn't scared. Every black person alive walks around with the constant understanding, brown, whatever, understand with Karens and everything else out there, understands, man, the assumption is your ass is guilty because you was black. You walked in the department store. You was driving while black. Whatever the situation, a million different scenarios. So to go all the way out the way to try to say it couldn't have been stand your ground. That doesn't apply here. It sounds like we've seen it a million times on the news. Well, you see, we can't come to any conclusions before we get all the data in. Everybody watching on the damn planet. You saw George Floyd. Everyone know exactly what the hell is going on, man. It ain't no, the verbiage would not come out like that if it was open to looking out for the assumption of innocent until proven guilty. And with all of the situations, man, that we've lived through, and this one is every black boy has been around some white folks, and it's just millions of cases that never get talked about and never came to the courthouse. And but every black person alive knows that scenario where some white boys want to run up on them wherever the hell it is, and they got to stand their damn ground, whether the law says they got to do it or not, or whatever. And the only thing that keeps a lot of us still even having the ability to talk at all is because we stood our ground and backed some of these fools up off of our ass, and we'll continue to do it. And so if that's not addressed, it don't matter. We're going to keep on standing our ground, whether you write a law that says that or not. Because like I said last night, that intimidation thing is over, man. Either you're going to stand up and fight and live, or you're going to stand up and fight and continue to die. Either way, it's not an option to just not back up a bully. Black, white, red, yellow, old, young, whatever the hell it is, male, female. A bully got to be checked, man. The only thing they respect is, damn it, you finna lose something too. So whatever the court say, it's past that point now, man. Lives is at stake. We at the end of the rope, man. We at the end of this thing called America. Whatever's going down and people getting fired, bro. People want to live, man. So if you want to stand up to make this thing get peaceful, stand up for justice. Stand up for what's right. Should always do that. But if you rally right now, if you want to calm it down, whoever the bully was need to be checked. And if you run up on some folks and the shit go bad, you shouldn't have ran up on them. Point blank.
Yo, hey, yo, Jonathan.
Fact. Fact.
Go ahead, Lewis.
Yeah.
It's divine handling this, but go ahead.
So in 2013, the Urban Institute actually did an analysis with regards to stand your ground cases, and against white versus black, right? So white victims, black assailants. White victims, black people who are claiming stand your ground. They were found to only win cases 1.3% of the times to 1.4 with the most recent study, as opposed to white victim. Sorry, just to clarify, so I get it right. Black victims were deemed justifiable 17% of the times, whereas black shooters were were ruled justifiable only 1% of the times. So when it's black people claiming stand your ground, they only win 1% to 1.4% of the cases. And if it's a white shooter, they're found successfully using the stand your ground protocol, 17% to 16.9% of the times found to be successful. So since we were talking about that earlier, I just wanted to clarify that.
Let me jump in here
So
real quick. This would be a good time to take a break. Jonathan, my fault, bro. I thought chat was at the helm. But we need to take a moment. Let's
You
do a
in
quick
chat.
reset. Austin
I am
Metcalf,
blaming the woman.
victim. One sec, guys. Austin Metcalf, victim or bully? This is what we're talking about tonight. And don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Download a few episodes, leave a comment. And of course, for those that are listening to us on those podcasts, make sure you come over here, join us on the Chatter app. A lot of big things going on over here. And if you're on the other side, you need to come over here because the memes, they are killing y'all in the chat. I must say it's hilarious. So who was that want to speak? Let's go, guys.
I'm going to say something that is, take it the way however you see it. It might be controversial. I really don't care at this point. I just noticed that this argument is largely concentrating between people of color on the stage, deciding the fate of somebody of people of color. And some of the sentiments that I've witnessed tonight on this stage is appalling, it's regrettable, and this is one of the reasons why black people have not established black privilege in America. Unfortunately, Every other race have fought to establish privilege. White people have privilege, they fought and they continue to maintain it. Jews have privilege, they fought and they continue to maintain it. But when the black people have the slightest of chance to fight for their own privilege, they are pitted. There is polarity. This kind of reminds me of what's going on between the Republicans and the Democrats. The Democrats try to be smart and honest and play by the rules, and they lose. The Republicans try to use whatever opportunity that they, whatever loophole in the system, and they end up winning. And this is what I'm seeing on this stage here. What difference does this make? At the time that this case is fully played out, you know damn well that there are people that will say, to hell with it, there is no stand your grounds here, regardless if there is or not. There's a reason why this boy has $1 million bail. There's a reason why he's locked up. And you guys don't see it, that you have a chance here for you to say, you know what? There is a glimmer of hope here. There is some kind of stand your ground, there is some kind of right here. Maybe there is an opportunity here for us to make a statement to say, you know what, regardless of what it is, yeah, we know he killed somebody, but that law, we can apply it here. And we can apply it for the whole race. We can apply it for the defense of every other person to make sure that at least if Zimmerman can get off, Rittenhouse can get off, and the whole 17% of other cases could get off. This is an opportunity for us to, you know what, establish that privilege. Because when it happens one or two times, it becomes the norm. But when you gamble and compromise such situations, don't come back and start crying and say that you are being maltreated in the United States of America because you didn't fight for it, because you let your parents down and you get what you deserve. In the United States of America, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. If you negotiate, stand your grounds on this case, and you're successful, that's what you're going to get. But if you're here postulating, criticizing yourself, shooting yourself on the foot, guess what? That guy became an example of what your present is, and is going to be an example of what your future is going to be. And I rest my case.
I think that Sweet brought up some really, really compelling observations. Really compelling observations. I only deal with one. What he said was profound. He said something that should shock the conscience of white America. Because let's just be honest, everybody, at least for the last 20, 30 minutes, that's opined on this issue were people of color. So I don't think I'm necessarily addressing this to black people. I don't think I'm necessarily addressing this to minorities. I think I'm addressing this to white America. And I would make this argument, white America. This case particularly should shock your conscience because of what Sweet said a minute ago. This man, this boy, I should say, I'm sorry, he's 17. He's not a man yet. This
Young
boy,
man, call him a young man. Call him a young man.
this young man should be entitled to the benefit of the doubt. This young man should be entitled to the benefit of the doubt. Why should he be entitled to the benefit of the doubt? Because the justice in our country demands so. We live under a rule of law that people that are charged, criminally charged in this country, are innocent until proven guilty. And the only way, white America, you can prove a man guilty under our tradition of law is that it has to rise to a level beyond a reasonable doubt. And what Sweet just challenged you to do is to consider this case for what it is, only with the facts and evidence that's in front of us.
And can you reasonably conclude that after now we know not only did Metcalf attack him once, he attacked him twice unprovoked? You can only conclude that there must be a doubt that exists, a reasonable doubt that exists, that in fact this young man was in defense of his life. And if such a defense exists, you have to come to the conclusion, white America, that he benefits from the guaranteed benefit of the doubt. And if he doesn't benefit from the benefit of the doubt, then you have to look yourself in the mirror in the morning and you have to say, we have first class citizens and second class citizens in this country, and second class citizens in this country don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Well said, Johnny. Well
Okay.
said.
Um, hmm.
I want to
all
throw a
right. All
collection.
right.
Are you
Okay.
talking to the people on the stage or are you
Yeah.
talking to
Go ahead.
America?
I'm talking to you, Kathy.
That's not Kathy.
Okay, first
That
of
that
all, my
that's not
name's not
Kathy.
Kathy.
Oh,
Second
I'm
of
sorry about
all,
that.
Go ahead,
second of
Kathy.
all, you don't get to
Are you
decide.
white, ma'am? Are
I
you
am not.
white?
TC.
Then
We
I'm
have rules.
talking to you.
No, TC. We have rules
And I'm
here in
talking to
debate the
you,
news.
buddy.
She asked who I was
Don't
talking
sit
to,
there and make
Okay.
Jonathan. I'm talking to
assumptions
white
about how
America.
I feel about this case. You are making assumptions about something you know nothing about. You know nothing about what I feel about this case.
Well, tell me.
First and foremost, a child was put in the ground today. This entire conversation is gross. It's a lack of respect. Not only did one person lose their life, another one may have been life may be destroyed. And let's also look at the brother's life who may be affected by this. Not to mention all of the other people around, parents, grandparents, friends, family that are affected. Quit being so closed-minded.
All right, Malcolm, Martin Luther TC. I heard your speech. Okay. Um, and the crazy part is that when Jill was here and she was speaking, and others, there was a rush to hush them up and not let them speak. So and I call it how I see it. Okay, when because Jill tried to contribute often. She kept bringing up the school district, the 12. In fact, Mary Lynn, she's no longer here. Okay, she was speaking. All right, about her son, and her being under those tents. Okay, and she spoke. So that's not true. Jill and Mary Lynn was very active. Okay, on this conversation. And I think anyone here that was on this stage would attest to that. See, once again, you guys took something, a narrative that Sir Jude put out there, and Sir Jude did not do his research. Okay, because Mary Lynn definitely spoke up, and Jill was definitely speaking up because Jill's from the district, and Mary Lynn was speaking up as well, and others. So I think you went into your Martin Luther TC speech spill a little bit too soon because there were people, okay, that were white that was uh, that was speaking up. So,
Jonathan.
guys, once again, we're I'm here. We're here to run a fair room, all right, and let everyone have a voice and let everyone's voice be heard.
Jonathan, I'd like to,
Wait,
So,
Jonathan, are we here to have a fair room or are we here to debate the news?
Jonathan,
no. What I mean, we're debating the news, but we're gonna let everyone debate the
Jonathan, let me
news.
address.
We're not gonna
All right,
try to
let's
set
let
people.
let's let
No,
everybody,
no, no,
but
no. I'm
let's
talking
not.
right now. You asked me a question, and I'm talking, and I'm gonna finish answering my question. Answering the question. We're here to have a fair room. What I mean by fair room is I don't care what side you speak on, you're going to be able to have that your voice heard. We're not going to shut people down because they don't agree with us, or they don't agree with you, or they don't agree with him or her, whatever. Okay, you don't get to shut people down because you don't agree with them. So you get to respond to them, you get to debate them, you get to engage them, but we're going to let them speak, and we don't get to dismiss. people's contribution and say people haven't contributed, and that's false. People have contributed. That's and so, and if someone has a problem with me saying that people contribute, then I really don't care because I'm being honest.
Jonathan, let me address the pain
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
of the
Let
lady.
me
Let me
respond to
address.
him real
No,
quick,
no,
and
no,
then
TC,
I'll do it
I'm
after
gonna
you.
go to the other person because you're not.
No, no, Jonathan, you
No, no,
took
no,
a
no, no,
swipe
no,
at me.
no, no, no,
I
no,
should
no.
be able to
No,
defend
no, no.
myself.
You just went on.
You
You went into your whole.
you
I
took a
had.
swipe at
No, no,
me, and I should be able to
no,
defend
no,
myself.
no,
You do
no.
this on a regular
No,
basis,
no. You
Jonathan.
did. No, you did your. I had a white person thing. No,
You
well, we're
throw
moving
rocks and then you
on.
hide your
We're
hand is
going.
what you do.
TC, I don't want to look. Once again.
I get to defend
But
myself, Jonathan.
no,
You took an
actually, you
attack on
don't,
me.
TC. No, you don't actually. You get to do
Then
it.
you're not
Okay, you get to do it.
interested in
Okay,
a fair
what I don't want to do, what I don't want to do, and I'm on the
room.
verge of doing, is moving you down, bro. Now respect the fucking room. There's a hierarchy in this fucking place. There's a fucking hierarchy. So anyway, let's go over to who's that? Sweetness to try to jump in.
Yes, sir. And
Let's go. Let's go.
this is very important because we humans on this planet. And let me address the fact of the pain. One thing I know as a black person is pain of death and family members, and they're not coming back. And this is why it's a very, very, very serious topic and a very serious situation about the fact of the injustice. And this is why it's so crucial because it has led to now where we have an actual individual that literally is not breathing anymore. And this is why, if this is not addressed, we can't stomach as a planet, as a people, as a whoever, to continue to not let the justice be served, continue to not understand that words, actions affect people, and they have a real effect on people, including black people, including white people. It doesn't matter. But in this particular case, we're talking about justice. We're talking about the reality that is leading to situations where if we don't nip stuff in the bud, if we don't make it crystal clear, you can't step to nobody like that. Even if they are black, if they white, if they look like they can't hurt you, you get to do that to people because it leads to death. And the reality of it is that's pain involved. See, that boy didn't want to do that. Speak to the spirit, whether you understand it or not. I'm gonna just tell you what I know. He wanted to live his life. I'm talking about the boy that had to defend himself. He valued himself enough to say, look, man, I really don't want this, man. I don't know why you got a problem with me. I can't control that. You want me to be lighter? Should I bleach my skin to make you feel better? I'm not gonna do that no more. We tried that. Some folks still trying that to appease another people. I don't know why you upset with this original folks. I don't know why. I don't know why, but damn it, I gotta defend me. I can't agree to go into your mindset because at the end of the day, man, I don't want to kill you, god damn it. But you shouldn't push up on me. If you don't understand that, you don't know what's causing this effect. And you gonna have your emotions all over the place. God damn it, the boy was saying, I feel some kind of way, god damn it. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. But you forced my goddamn hand, man. And you've been doing it. It's not just you, Metcalf. It's not just you, your brother. It's been happening. God damn it, if you don't address this, the whole shit gonna fall apart. And to God will be the justice maker of this shit. This ain't no joke out here, man. You don't have to put value on these lives, but these lives matter, god damn it. All the protesting, oh, erase that off the curb, erase the. You can erase that if you want, but you're not erasing these lives, god damn it. God has been backing these black folks, making this country powerful for the goddamn world, and we still don't benefit. This ain't no small thing, man. That boy did not want to kill him. Make it look like he plotted that. You full of it, man. That pain he gotta live with. But damn it, every day, all day, he made the right choice. He's got to defend himself. So if you don't understand that, get more body bags ready. Get more funerals ready. It's too late for the bullshit.
Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want. Oh, Jesus is on the main line. Tell him.
Tell him what you want. Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
We're
Come
on the
on,
same
Melon.
time, Jesus.
Come
We're on
on,
the
Yeah,
same
Melon.
time, Jesus.
you guys, listen. I think you guys probably do your own selves a disservice. I mean, Jonathan is a disgrace. The fact that he would come on this stage and try and take away the accountability from white America and try and be their white savior, he ought to be ashamed of himself because the accountability is on white America. And the fact that he wants to move the argument along. Nothing to see here, folks. White America has no accountability in this discussion. Even though what Sweet said and what I said provoked them to action, he had to come off his mic to be the defensive savior of white America so that he get a pat on the back. Sorry, you're not.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so now the guys don't mute him out. Don't mute him out. Don't mute him out.
You ought to be
Uh,
ashamed of yourself, Jonathan. You don't get any passes from me. White
mhm.
America doesn't give you any brownie points because you come to their aid. They still remain accountable for their actions. And in this case, Austin Metcalf remains accountable for his actions. I'm done.
All right.
So
Well
can I
said.
hop in there?
Well, one
I
second.
like
Well,
the
hold
I
on one
like
second.
the
Hold
I
on one
like the
second.
way. Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Well said,
jump in.
TC. One second. One second. Well said, TC. Well said. Okay. Um, I've and I stand by what I said. When you said people weren't speaking, yeah, I noticed you conveniently left out. Like, yeah, all he said was, yeah, people were speaking. Okay, it's not accountability. It's called fucking lies and just ignoring the fucking truth is what you want me to do. All right, all right. I corrected the record, and that's what you know what that's what a great moderator does. That's what a man of integrity does. Okay, even if it works against his argument, even if it works against him, he speaks up and he corrects the record. And he makes sure it's true. Okay. Did Mary Lynn speak about her child playing football and track and going under those tents? Yes, she did. Okay. Did Jill with the work vest speak? Okay. Yes, she did. So I let you speak, TC, because and the reason I didn't stop you and I didn't highlight that shit because the people that was here that heard those people speak, and those people that heard what I said afterwards know that the only thing I said is nah, people did speak, and I just want you to know that you kill your credibility when you come off mic and say the dumb shit you just said because I didn't say no one was not responsible. I spoke to who spoke in this fucking room, okay, and your whole speech when you gave your fucking sermon was about people, white people are not speaking, okay? And you were wrong. And instead of just keeping your goddamn mouth shut, you want to come back and blame me for the fucking disinformation, misinformation that you put out there. So we're gonna go ahead to another white person that wants to speak. Unfortunately, because once again you're trying to say, "Oh, they don't want to speak. They don't want to speak." I'm tired of the bullshit, TC. Figure out where you're gonna be, okay? Because when Grant come in here later on tonight, don't fucking switch up, okay? Don't fucking switch up. Keep your high yellow ass right where you are right now, and say that shit in front of your fucking master. So with that being said, I'm gonna go to Andy.
Hi, everybody. I've been listening for a while, and I was a little distracted. So I just want to. Sometimes in life, it's not what happened and the emotions behind what happened is what you can prove. So let's take person A and person B. Let's call them both white for a moment. I come over. I come over. I'm person A, and I push you, and then I push you again, and then you stab me. I think if I broke it down to the least common denominator, I think that's what people are saying that happened. There were words, of course, I'm sure. But you do have a choice. In my youth, when I was 20, 25, 26 years old. I was in a bar. I got pushed. I hit the motherfucker over the head with a bottle. I got arrested for assault with a deadly. See, I had a choice. I could have walked away. It's not necessarily what happens. It's choice you made as a result of it happening. See, race has nothing to do with it. You got to take race out. I know race is a factor always, but if justice is blind, we have to take it out. What happened? What was your choice? What did you do? By the way, guilty as charged. I didn't walk away. I was a fucking dick. I was a badass. I thought that was more important. And consequently, I was a schmuck. Not proud of it. It's not a good thing that happened in my life. So that's the thing. We have choices, and there are consequences of our choices. And it's always best to walk away, man. I'm telling you. I walk away. Just walk away. Just walk away.
So, Andy, I said at the very top that both
But chat,
children.
chat, chat.
Mhm.
I 1000% agree with you. You started it. You're always your brilliant self. I couldn't
Oh,
agree
thank
with you more. Okay, so I just want to let you know I heard what you said,
you. Yeah,
and it was
I
totally
appreciate that,
fucking
my
dead
friend.
on, false, accurate, and brilliant. I just which
Oh,
you every time you open your mouth, it usually is. When you talk, I get the phone a little closer to my ear. I just want to let you know that.
oh, I appreciate that, Andy. Now watch the haters in the chat. They're gonna hate on us, Andy.
Oh, they can
Uh
hate me all they want. You have to understand. You have to try to imagine. I ask you all to close your eyes and try to imagine this. Just how little I care about how you think about me. We're all in this room together. We all learn from each other. You're not going to like everybody, love everybody, but you can certainly respect everybody. And I don't get this. You're a moron. You're this. I don't get it. I never did. And I never will. I can have quintessentially opposite views of you, but that doesn't make me right. That just makes me have a different opinion. And you're certainly always entitled to yours. And I will never be that bold to call you a moron for having it. You're wrong for having it. It's absurd to me. Anyway, I'm going to yield my mic, get off my soap opera. Thanks for letting me open up. Thanks for calling on me, Jonathan.
yeah, yeah, Andy. Like I do. I was planning this conference, this social justice conference with my church. We had to table it, but the name of it was "Get Home Alive," right? And because I think that there are conversations that people are having with their children about getting home alive, right? There are school shooters out there. There are, this type of situations. There's bullying, there's cyberbullying. There was a young lady, I think, during Trump's address to Congress that he brought up that a classmate took pictures of her and posted them around the school. Our children, our kids, and I don't have any, but I'm, Auntie Cookies. But when I think about, you parents out there that are raising kids, and some parents I've seen said that it's the same thing that we experienced when we were children. It is not. I'm sorry. Columbine was when I was in high school, so and that was like I think the first major school shooting. But our children aren't living in the same world that we were living in 15, 20, 30, 40, however old you guys are years ago. It's not. And so what are you parents? I want to ask the parents, what would you tell your children? how are you approaching, or are you approaching and having this conversation with your children on either side? Are you telling your children not to initiate conflict? Right? Are you teaching your children to de-escalate? Are you teaching your children to go to someone in authority? I want to know from the parents, what would you tell your children?
All of those things, but also including and teaching our children that we are all humans. We're all humans. No one is better than anyone else. Your religion and all of these things that divide us, no, no. We need to respect life of humans, animals, plants, the earth. It's respect for life, period. Nothing is above anything else.
Jack, where was your respect for Trayvon Martin's life?
We're not here to
Excuse me?
I
one
know,
second.
I know,
You
I
you
know. The
don't know where
defense.
you
Here
one
comes
second.
the defense. Here
Yeah,
comes
no,
the
you don't
white
know our
savior.
position. No, because
This is
see,
the Oreo
this
savior,
room is not gonna be
folks.
turned into
Here
some
we go. The
bullshit.
Oreo
One second.
savior again.
Yeah, yeah, you
Somebody's
can
being
say,
held
yeah.
accountable, and you need the Oreo savior
No,
to come in and
actually,
save the
TC,
show.
like I
Go
said,
ahead and run
the
your show,
bullshit that you're
Jonathan.
doing right now, we're not having that discussion. The discussion we're having right now, okay, is a real discussion. It's motherfuckers like you that make people afraid to open up their fucking mic and have the conversation, the real conversations. Okay, and that's what it is. All right, so all that Oreo savior shit, no. This is once again, there's a hierarchy in this room. And the debate the news, Million Marathon have been run the same way for years. Okay, and that's why we're still here. Because we respect everyone. Just because you want to have points, but I'm gonna tell you something, TC. I'm tired of this bullshit you doing. Because
Well, nobody
Grant's
gives
not
a
here.
fuck
No,
about
no,
debate
I
the
know
news.
that.
This
I
is
know
bigger
that.
than
Because
debate the
Grant's not here.
news.
Grant's not
This
here.
is
So
bigger than
no, no,
Million
no,
Marathon. This
Grant.
is bigger than
Grant
chatter.
Cardone isn't here, so
This
you're trying to
conversation is going
fucking
to be
win
had
points with the
outside of
fucking
debate the news,
community. But when
Jonathan.
Grant get in here, you're gonna be all on his fucking nuts talking about some yeah,
Bullshit. I
yeah,
call
I don't. Yeah,
bullshit.
you're right.
I
Yeah,
call
TC.
bullshit.
Yeah, I call bullshit. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's start the bullshit. Okay, because remember, you went on the other fucking side already. You fucking went over.
There are
Okay,
no
no,
sides,
oh, there
Jonathan.
are
There's
any
only
sides. Oh,
right
oh,
and
you
wrong.
every
I
fucking
don't
thing that
fall on sides
you
when it
went for
comes to fucking life and
everything you
death,
stood
Jonathan.
for. Everything you stand against. Now you want to come in here like you're fucking Martin Luther fucking TC,
Bullshit.
like you're gonna come. Get the
Bullshit.
fuck up out of here, okay? When they're talking about
Bullshit, Jonathan.
economical policies that can hurt the fucking you can oh, but now you want to sit here and say oh you're for this. The fuck out of here, TC. The fuck out of here with the bullshit. You lucky, my man. Because I'll curse your ass out. But anyway, with that being said, guys, this is Debate the News. We have a very different type of episode going on tonight, folks. As you see, yeah,
Hey,
TC,
Jonathan,
myself.
I like to answer Chad's question, bro. I
Okay,
like.
one second, brother. Not in the middle of a reset. Not in the middle of a reset. That gets you thrown down. So, guys, this is a different type of podcast we're doing tonight. Guys, if you're on CH, yes, this is a live room. It's not you guys aren't listening to a podcast, okay? So it is a live room. You guys are able to participate, raise your hand, come to the stage, and join the conversation. Okay, yes, you can join the conversation. Raise your hand. We will bring you up. We're multi-streaming to multiple platforms. Therefore, you're able to participate. So with that being said, folks, if you're listening to us at home, come join us, man. Come check TC out and see that special smile he gets on his face when Grant's in the room. Okay, and the demure, and he puts his head down and say yes every time Grant speaks. Okay, come see that. Okay, you can see that live here on the Chatter Social app. All you have to do is go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, download that, and you will be able to see that live. Also, if you're in either one of these rooms, up top is the link. We did this podcast last night, and we wound up doing 3 episodes of 7+ hours and material, which we did put out this morning on the podcast. Oh my God, it got heated. Sweetness was going off, cursing me out, cursing everybody out. You know, we were going back and forth. It got really passionate. If you guys want to hear that podcast, those podcasts are up there. Everything that was said last night, all the way to like 5:30 this morning, chat. 5:30 this morning Eastern time or somewhere around there. We kept it going the whole
Yes,
entire
it was
night.
5:30 this morning
The whole entire night, guys.
on two platforms. Yes.
Exactly, the entire and no, and we had Twitter going for a while as well. So like we're on Twitter right now, X right now. So with that being said, guys, if you want to go download that hit the link up top, follow our podcast, and download those episodes if you guys want to hear it. 100%. You hear how demure TC was when Grant was in the room last night. I'm gonna call Grant in the room right now to make him demure again. So with that being said, I'm gonna hand this thing back over to chat and Divine. I'm here as a guest speaker tonight.
All right. Thanks, JB. I think that was Marcus on CH. Marcus, you want to hop in?
No, no, I'm on chatter. I just
Oh,
one.
you
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Jonathan, that shit funny, bro. Martin Luther TC. It's funny as hell, So we all know TC, man. TC, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Good to hear you. All those great things.
What's up,
That
brother?
shit funny though. Martin Luther TC. I'm never gonna forget that one. I promise you. I'm gonna use that one at some point in time. When you're growing up, your parents always teach you like, hey, if somebody hit you, hit them back. Some parents, right? And then some parents teach the kids like, if somebody hit you, go tell somebody. And then some parents just don't tell their kids anything. So they go and just be punching bags and stuff. And then some parents tell their kids, if somebody hit you, hit them back on the way to go tell someone that somebody hit you first. You know what I'm saying? And I think in a situation like this where you don't want to wait on somebody that's 6'1" or this big or this tall with these many muscles that's known for sacking quarterbacks or tackling or blocking or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? When you are like just a little dude. It's like being a zebra in the middle of the safari and some lions just walk up on you and be like, hey, what you doing over here? It's a bunch of zebras in the safari that wish they had a knife or something to get those lions up off of them. Now, it's definitely messed up, the whole situation with Austin Metcalf. I think I've been asking people like, especially the people that's been saying that Carmelo was innocent. People that saying, first of all, Carmelo Anthony also won the Hall of Fame basketball high Naismith that the same week that this happened with Carmelo Anthony, the kid stabbed Austin Metcalf. So that was ironic that if you're an NBA player or a fan, you know what I'm talking about. But I think it's important to know, like, if someone walks up on you and puts you in a situation, you got your back against the wall, you feel threatened, and they tell you like, "Hey, don't touch me," twice, and you touch them twice. Anything that happens after that, I mean, I think, hey, man, not that you asked for it. We hate that it happened that way, but that's what normally happens when somebody warns you and say, "I don't want any trouble. Leave me alone. I don't feel like fighting," and you push them to do certain things. I think one of my main questions is this, and I'm gonna land my plane here, right? If you saying that Carmelo Anthony is innocent, if your son was the person that got stabbed, would you still be saying Carmelo Anthony is innocent if the shoe was on the other foot? That's my question.
They're not going to answer that.
No, Jonathan, I'll definitely answer that question. If my son, this entrepreneur, what's up, y'all? If my son is being a bully and somebody retaliates and stabs him and he succumbs to that, am I going to be grieving and hurt that my son is gone? Absolutely. But I'm also going to look at the situation like my son was being a bully. And see, a lot of people not going to answer that question like that because a lot of people they want to shift their thought process because it's somebody that they love or care about. A lot of y'all have heard me talk about me raising my kids. And I especially told my daughters, don't come to me if you put your hands on a man first and he turns around and retaliates. Because I wanted to teach my daughters that it's not okay for you to put your hands on a man despite what the culture is in this country and how they look at that situation. And I'm using that example in principle so that you can see where I am at and how I truly am at heart. Like I said, would I grieve my son? Absolutely. Some type of way that his life was lost? Absolutely. But I will also have to sit back and be like, my son is being a bully. My son was warned and somebody felt threatened or somebody felt whatever. and they pulled out a knife and stabbed him because my son was the aggressor, because my son was on the offense, there's nothing that I can do at that point. I can't get mad at the other person and say, "Oh, you shouldn't have pulled a knife. Oh, you should have walked away. Oh, you should have did this. Oh, you should have did that." I'm going to be thinking about, why did my son do what he did not only once but twice? About an hour ago, somebody brought up chronological order. And it's so crazy how people want to have a language that talks about how people respond in lieu of putting the language on the person that is putting the person in the response mindset. It literally doesn't make sense. Two comes after one, which means that if there's no one, there is no two. Two was the response, meaning getting stabbed. One was going on the attack. How can you overlook that and focus mainly or solely on number two? I just want y'all to think about that. I said what I said. I'm standing on what I said, and I'm not changing my mind on that, even
Yeah,
if it was my son. I land my plane.
I didn't want to cut you off, Jonathan. Let me speak to this. When Marcus, we was in a room yesterday, and when this topic was in the news yesterday, and in the last couple of days, it's really come to a head. It was been in the. It's happened some time ago, weeks ago. And y'all know that I wasn't keeping up with it. You know, it was truthfully, it's a very everyday kind of a thing. There's so many things going on all the time. This is a. It happens way more than we give it credit to. But when Marcus brought it up, he'll probably bear witness that I said what I'm about to say right now. We don't condone wrong where I'm from. In fact, if you black like me and you got parents like me, I'll speak for the millions and the billions that we don't co-sign on no bullshit for nobody, child or not. In fact, what black person doesn't know about getting whooped 3, 4, 5 times? You did what at school? You acted a fool representing our family like that? Oh no, we checked that. Oh hell to the no. Oh, and your mama find out, and your cousin find out, and your auntie find out. All of them finna lay it in on you. So I'm speaking to what I know about black folks in this country, and the taking advantage of that is what I'm highlighting. Taking advantage of that good heart that we have. So these other folks can just, oh, and then start crying, Jesus, oh, forgive, 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 after you done pushed these black folks to the ultimate limit. And I love the fact that my sister woke up the pain. You know why? Because the sensitivity now. Maybe people can go back in their minds now and look at all them lives that are dead now and bring that same energy over there. So no, wake that up. Yeah, wake up that pain. All them funerals that people been going to all over the planet, in this country, I know of. Over some nonsense, man, over some folks that did some people wrong, man. And what nobody having that same tears. So the empathy gotta go up is what I'm standing on. But I'll be clear, Marcus, definitely me. Oh, ain't no backing coming to you. You my child and you doing wrong and you bullying folks. Oh no, but understand, that ain't a one-way street. That's love driving that conversation. Because I need you to be a better person. Because the God I serve ain't giving no blessings to no bullies. Ain't giving no blessings to, well, you my child, so I'm a co-sign on that. No, sir. You might get into heaven, but your children don't necessarily got to get there, or vice versa. It's what you do. There's principles that we put into ours. I know I speak for millions, if not billions. There's principles at work here. This ain't no, oh, well, I'm gonna look out for you because, oh, and you know, you my family. No, sir. If you wrong, you ain't getting no backing. So we trying to nip that in the bud way back. Because once you out there, but see, this is what you don't, people are not trying to put weight on. When we talk on this, this ain't some moral superiority. This is about the facts, man. About standing up for what's right. I don't give a damn if Trump, the president, Biden, if don't nobody ever do right, damn it. There's many of us that say, you got to do right. That's where your power is. Think I could talk like this with this energy if I'm just trying to make this shit up? If you come upon those that really about it, white, black, red, yellow, you know, you bump into those that understand there's a principle at work. And I'm here to say, yeah, Marcus, if I'm my family, anybody doing wrong, or if I'm doing wrong and they don't check me, something wrong with them. We got to check each other, and you definitely got to check somebody that's trying to take your children off this planet. And that's why you got to stand your ground. Never be the aggressor, but you got to fight like hell with those that fight with you. And so they know don't ever go there again.
All
No, if I
right.
could go back.
Yeah, you got
All right.
Scooby has his hand up, and we have Kathy. Kathy, you're in the house, right, Kathy? Okay, okay, Kathy's here. So Scooby and Kathy here, guys. Kathy's from the area, but go ahead, Scoop.
Yeah. The only problem I have is I put myself as a 17-year-old kid in his shoes. And what bothers me most off is that knife. Is if he don't have that knife, is he gonna stand up to them bullies or is he gonna walk away? Um, Me, I was 5'4", 145 pounds. If I was approached by two bullies and I had that knife, I might feel it might make me stand up. But if I don't have that knife, maybe I just turn and walk away. That's my only feelings in this is that decision to bring a knife is a big deal to me. I don't know why it just is.
I can ask a very
I
serious
think
question to my man.
I I think the decision to walk up on somebody and don't know if they prepared to deal with you or not is equal or
Is
greater.
it a possibility?
That
I'm
see,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I just want to say this real quick. Thanks, sweet. It's this is what I'm talking about putting the earnest on number two in lieu of number one. Where I'm from, you don't just somebody unless you prepared to deal with whatever's going to come as a result of it. That person might knock you out with their hands. That person might have a weapon on them. That person might go get their family member or brother or friend. You don't know. But I know one thing: when you walk up on somebody with some type, I'm gonna use Sweet because Sweet got that type of energy that I kind of get with. I can or Jonathan. I can't imagine me just walking up on these brothers, right? With that Philly attitude, that Philly energy that I have about myself at times, and just thinking that everything going to be sweet. They might be legally armed. They might have a knife. I don't know what's on them. So it's crazy how people, like I said before, use language to put the earnest on the person responding in that situation in lieu of the person that's walking up on them and putting them in that situation. Because without, regardless if the person had a knife or not, that individual, that twin that walked up on him and thought that everything was cool and kosher and copacetic, what if that boy, that young boy, that young man, like somebody said earlier, would have, in lieu of using the knife, turned around and clocked that dude good, and that dude fell back and hit his head on a chair and still passed away? What if he clocked him one good time and caused that kid to have a seizure? It's not like these things haven't happened before. So respectfully, it don't make a difference if he had the knife or not to a degree. What makes the difference is had that other guy not even approached him in that manner. What if that kid would have had a gun on him? Then what? See, we look, we you talk about if he wouldn't have had the knife, what he would have done. We don't know what he would have done, but we know what he did do. We know what the other kid did. What if the other kid wouldn't have never approached him? Will we even know what we even know that this kid had a knife in his book bag? Again, you can't ignore one, but focus solely on two. My fault, sweet.
No, it's okay. The gentleman, I was open to dialogue with him because it just shows you the mindset that's gotten so comfortable. It won't deal with the one and two, but I want to say this. What's the guarantee that those two would not have overpowered him and made him not breathe anymore? What's the guarantee if he didn't back him up that he would still be breathing? We know many of scenarios where that folks have got killed. See, this is what I'm saying about the value of life. Why not teach your children don't aggress upon nobody? Why is that not a focal point? Why is that not the lesson that some are gravitating to.
Facts, facts.
Why is that not the point of like, baby? Hey, you know what? You see what's going on with this? That's why you don't aggress upon nobody. Black, white, red, yellow, male, female, Mexican, Asian, doesn't matter. This is why you don't, because people are valuable and they have the right to defend themselves. Whether they got the civil rights in the Frisco or here or there, they got human rights. Whether there was ever a Eleanor Roosevelt with the human rights or not, they humans, man. They got rights. Whether there's a Constitution in the United States of America, Declaration of Human Rights and all this or not, they on this planet, they got rights. Why not teach that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with the fairness of they've got the right to be? They've got the right to defend themselves. They've got the right to enjoy all the best in civilized society. They've got the right to live a life and grow up and have children their damn self. Does he have that right still? Are you happy about the fact that he's not going to be able to raise a family a certain way? Because he got that cloud around him in this whole atmosphere called America. He got that whole cloud around him. And every person knows it.
Hmm.
Every person knows it. That's a lie. There's that cloud in the atmosphere. It's that unspoken reality. My man talked a little earlier. Oh, you know how it's going to end up. He's black. Oh, you just know. You done accepted that to be the reality. But let me tell you, many have broken their agreement with that reality and they never going back. Whatever it looks like, they're going to defend themselves and they're going to defend their loved
Hmm.
ones for sure, no matter what. So that's not going away. And we just have to see how it play out. I pray that you teach your family, like I'm going to do my best to teach my family, anybody I can influence, never be the aggressor. Never aggress upon anybody. Never be the one starting some mess. But if they come at you, you got to fight like hell with those that fight with you because they obviously don't respect anything else, but they might lose their life too.
Hmm. Kathy, did you want to speak? I know Jonathan mentioned your name. Okay, cool.
Any more
Well,
pastors in the queue?
Jonathan,
Right?
I
Jesus.
salute you.
Kathy?
Kathy.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I salute you, Black King. Everything you said, I resonate with it. It's your right to defend yourself, whether these people make laws and tell you you can't or not. Like, you have a right to live like everybody else. I appreciate you, Jonathan.
I don't know if that was me. I think
That
someone.
was sweet.
Oh, I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no, no.
I
I think.
apologize. Well, whoever said
No, no,
that,
no, no, no. On that platform, it shows up as my profile. Someone on this profile said that, on this platform said, "Appreciate it, though, man. I'll take it." So,
Hey, Jonathan, you can
You
have
but
that,
black
man.
king, you.
yeah,
Go
Let
yeah.
Jonathan have
ahead.
that, man.
Kathy,
Let
go ahead.
Jonathan have that, man. To God be the glory. It's all.
and real talk, I'm not racist, y'all. So let's just say the shoe was on the other foot, and there was a black kid that died trying to bully, like, it was two black kids trying to bully a white kid. I'd be saying the same thing. Like, for every action, there's a reaction. Like that probably could have been avoided if them kids ain't press up on that little boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is where parenting come in. I don't blame those kids. We was all young and dumb. You understand? I'm still kind of dumb. I'm 36. But like, my thing is, we need to raise our kids better. I don't tell my kid to raise up on nobody. I don't tell him, oh, extort this kid or press this kid, and your will against his. And if he look like he's scared, you got him. That's how these parents raise their kids to be predators. That's weird. well said,
You know,
bro.
if I could jump in real quick, you know,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
say some real world scenarios. I don't do all the what ifs, right? I will say this, that the way I raised my children for the last 30 years, it's I go by the famous whole thing is mental discipline and to be on the defensive. I grew up have to be on the offense and the defense to survive. Today I tell them all they gotta do is be on the defensive, right? This the whole weapon thing, I get it. But in some case that kid was being bullied from somewhere. May not be that kid that was he killed or defended himself from. He was being bullied somewhere. There's a reason why he brought that knife. Because something happened, and it sounds like this kid wasn't he had a small frame. I don't know what the sizes were, but
5'8",
back to
150. And the twins was
so he,
6'2", 250, 225 apiece.
so there was a defensive mode he had to be in
for him to survive. Do I blame him for bringing the knife? Absolutely not. Because he was scared of something. He's probably been picked on. He's probably been bullied. We don't know. But I
A
do
coward
agree
would
that,
kill you before a gangster would. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Sir, let people go one at a time.
yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna call him a coward or not, but I'm gonna call him. I mean, that's his only word of protection. Maybe he wasn't really taught as he was. Maybe he didn't have parents that like to teach him how to think outside the box other than use a weapon. We don't know. I don't know what type of environment that is. I'm just going back to where I'm raising my kids to be in defensive mode. So when it comes to that, you know how to deal with the situation. You could pretty much, if you're smart enough, you could talk your way out of the situation, de-escalate the situation before it even get to that point. That's all I got to say. Going back to the original question that chat posed.
I'm a little biased on that. You know, the dude is from down south, so we don't care about down south niggas, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Who
I
you
is
would
got to
that?
get
too.
off.
One
But
mic, one mic, one mic, one mic, one mic. Who is that? Is that CH?
That is CH.
All right, listen to me. You're new here, obviously. All right, we don't use that word here ever. All right. So just just consider that your only warning. All right. Yeah, we don't do that here. We're professionals. We have a bunch of professionals here, and this is not that kind of room. So I just want, yeah, we're not gonna use that. So and I take it that you don't know that, so that's why I'm letting you know. So with that being said, I'm gonna toss it back to chat.
Can I say something real quick, Jonathan?
One second, Jonathan. I know you said Scooby and then Kathy. I don't think Kathy got a chance to speak. Is she still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
Um,
Kathy, how was the funeral? First of all, the funeral was today. How was that town? How was it? What was the atmosphere like down there?
it was very peaceful. So thank goodness it was very peaceful. Nobody did what they were saying they were going to do on social media. Everything was calm. Huge crowds overflowing the church to to go to the funeral, and thank goodness it was very peaceful. So I'm very grateful for that. That people didn't. They were respectful. Everybody was respectful. So that's very good. Um, I'm sitting here listening to all this, and I'm a 68-year-old woman, and I've lived a long life. I grew up down the street from Grant, and I grew up on 20th Street in Lake Charles, Louisiana, in the 50s and 60s, and um, we were neighbors when we were kids, and I'm we we've seen a lot through the years, and I feel like we have come a long way in life. But then when I sit in this room, y'all, we are all American citizens that live here, that should want each of us to prosper, to each of us to do good, to each of us to achieve our goals and to have happiness, build a family if you want to, live a single life if you want to, and be respectful for each other. And I just don't see this in here, and it really disheartens me how people are treating each other. And this was a tragic event for both families. It's a tragic event for both boys. It shouldn't have happened. We don't know the details. We don't know exactly who was supposed to be where, when, why. All that needs to come out yet. All this speculation and making it race baiting and everything else, we should be above all that, and we should feel sorry for both of these people in this very unfortunate circumstance. And that's all I want to say.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Uh,
Kathy.
You're
Um,
welcome.
yeah, like the thing about, and the reason why I asked the parents in the room the question is, like, none of us were there, right? We're only hearing accounts. We're hearing affidavits, right? The account from the affidavit. Um, and someone asked in the chat over here on Chatter, why did he why did Carmelo stop and sit underneath their tent, underneath Austin's team's tent? And we kind of talked about this last night. I mean, I could give my speculation because I saw the actual picture from the scene, and their tent is lower. It's like one of the lowest tents on the bleachers. But at track meets that I've attended, that I have ran in, where all of our stuff is underneath these tents in the bleachers. And even Mary Lynn said this earlier. We're sitting in different groups, right? Like I ran relays, so we barely went to the stands. The stands were just there to put our bags under, right underneath that tent, because we were either stretching, we were doing plyometrics, we were practicing our handoffs, or we were in field events, right? Field events, like you're literally going in and out. You may go to the bleachers to take off your cleats and put on your cross trainers. You may go and grab your tape for, long jump or something like that. But typically we're all on the field. And the coaches are required, for those of you that coach, that at track meets, a lot of you, most of you would be on the field, either helping your team, your children, the kids on your team, and helping out the track meet in some way, shape, or form, right? You're at the finish line, you're doing the time. You're at the starting line to see if anyone scratches coming out of the blocks. Like, it is a very fluid situation. And so I am pretty sure, as the case, unfolds, or however they present the case, that is going to be something that they consider. Because why would Austin confront him and tell him to leave from under the tent when it had just started drizzling? This whole territorial thing, like, for instance, today I went to the grocery store, and I'm a veteran, so I have veteran plates. And so when I got out of the car, someone walked up to me and said, "You don't look handicapped." And I get that sometimes, that I don't look handicapped. Now I'm a whole 100% disabled veteran. It's nobody's business why I have my veteran plates on my car. But what if what if I had a gun or a knife, and someone that wasn't minding their own damn business told me that I needed to move my car, or told me that I don't look handicapped, so I shouldn't park there? I would have felt threatened. And I did. I kept walking. But why are you coming to me as if your name is HEB? It's not. So I think, as we're teaching children things, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that I consider, when how both parties, because I said at the top, both children made the wrong decisions. They both did, and both of their lives are changed forever, and their families' lives are changed forever. But with that being said, you guys, welcome to Debate the News on this good Saturday. Okay, how y'all doing? I hope that you are enjoying yourselves, because I am. I mean, we went for hours yesterday and it got a little heated, but I still learned a lot of things. And you parents, y'all are very territorial, and I love it. But thank you guys for pulling up over on CH, on Twitter, and on Chatter. Please make sure that if you are not on Chatter and you want to be, let someone in the chat know. One of the mods will put an invite in the chat for you, so that you can come on over to Chatter. We have videos. We come up over here. We do polls, all of the things. So make sure you get a chance, grab one of those invites, and come on over to Chatter. Also, as Jonathan said earlier, we have a podcast. We are actually recording a live
All right,
podcast
folks,
at
here's
this
the deal,
very
folks.
moment.
We are
And so
actually
we
about
ask
to
that you download, that you
transition
favorite this
to
podcast,
that part two of
that you
this.
download
We
it.
are booming this room. This room will be closing down and reopening within 5 seconds of it closing down, guys. So you guys are gonna find yourself in the
Go
hallway,
ahead,
but
Jay.
just come right
Oh,
back
okay,
in.
yeah, he's
You guys are
closing the
gonna be
other
able to
room.
find yourselves in the
Okay,
Yeah,
hallway.
Jonathan, I blame it
One
on
second, one
Mozart
second, one
culturalism.
second,
matter of fact,
one second.
do
And guys,
automatic
and if
download.
you're listening to
Okay,
us
just
at
do that.
home,
I get
we're
alerts. I
going
got
into the
like 3
bonus
alerts
section of the
today, because we
podcast,
we
which will
recorded so
come
much
out
content
later on in the
yesterday.
day.
But
Once again,
I
if
was
you're
about to
listening to
say
us
you
at
guys,
home,
not
we're
Jonathan, but
heading into the bonus section
but
of
make
the
sure that you
podcast.
all
So
like us
the
and
people in the
leave a
room, I see you
review.
guys
We
right
are
back within
also
five
posting on
seconds. The room will
YouTube.
be back
So
up.
go over to YouTube, like Debate the News.